So now we're up to 7 mandatory standard fields that must be on every structure. The only difference in this is the actual fields you're dealing with, correct? So it doesn't matter if this table has an ID and a name, okay? ID, and he's going to be a dot I, whoops, sorry, dot I, and then we have a name, right? Dot S, okay? And this one may actually have a 25 character limit, right? So that's one of those things that comes down here in the validate step, okay? That he's got to be made sure that this guy does not exceed 25 characters or he's not null. It can't be a null field. That would break the database. So it doesn't matter. We have an image. So that in this world would just be a I. On the database, this is going to translate into a blob, a binary large object. Maybe we have a description, and well, that would have to be well, I'm going to say string, but this translates into what is called a CLOB, character large object. A CLOB, if I could type. Boy, that would be nice. I used to be able to. Oh, well. So you have binary large object, you have CLOBs, but the actual data type it's important in the structure, but it's not something you, the programmer, should really have to deal with. That's the modules issue. The module should be able to be written and developed. And since it's a formula, my answer on anything that looks the same, acts the same, talks the same, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, then you know what? It's a duck. So this is the same kind of concept. Every table looks the same. And that was my genesis back in the Visual Basic 5, roughly VB6 era. So back in, oh goodness gracious, I don't rightly remember when that was, 90s, let's say it that way. Back in the 90s, early 90s, I started developing tools to build my database for me because there's no reason I have to write 800 lines or 1,000 lines of code for each and every database table when the only thing that differs in a database table are the actual fields. So why do I have to write this code? All right. And this brings about a tool that I've written. And I don't mean to be hawking this tool, but I guess I kind of am. It's free. I'm not doing this for money. You can go out to my website and download it. I wrote a tool called Class Builder, and it's been written in Visual Basic 5, 6, and several of the .NET languages, and even for Python. And I started actually writing it for Pascal one time. And I do have egg on my face. My very first release of this tool was a disaster. I had recently rewritten it and tried to replace the database with a JSON table instead of having a database. That way I could put a database in your projects and it would keep track of just those objects you create for that project. But it was a disaster. I mean, I do beg forgiveness for those who actually went through that mayhem. But since then, I have fixed just, I think, every issue and flaw that I could find in it. And when I started this video series stuff here, that was one of the first video series I put out is on Class Builder, and I urge all of you, now that you've made the transition from structures into modules and have a grasp of what a module is, I really do strongly urge you to go peruse the series on Class Builder, because it will save you writing thousands and thousands of lines of code. And in our game, as you know, actually, as we have gone along, I don't write things twice if I can help it. If I'm going to write it twice, it's going into my static, and I'm going to call it as a function. And you should be that way too. You don't want to keep writing the same code over and over and over. If you do, you are bound to make typos. You are bound to cause a problem. And now, having repeated that problem throughout your application, when you discover the issue, now you're pouring through thousands of lines of code looking for all the places you did this or did that. Don't do it. If you're going to write it twice, write it once into a function and then call it. Remember to call it. And as you build these neato functions that you call, keep a whole list of them going. Okay, move it from project to project. What I have done in the business world for years and years, we had DLLs that we used back in Visual Basic and during the .NET years of working. We had proprietary DLLs that had functions to do every kind of manipulation of dates and timing between dates. Anything that we did in a certain way, we created custom DLLs that moved from project to project to project and just kept growing and adding. Okay. We extended the string class. We extended the integer class. We would extend all these other classes, and we kept it all together, and it's all proprietary data. So this is your chance to be able to build that. If you're going to write it twice, do it once and call it. All right, now I'll get off my soapbox. What I ask you all to do is go look at Class Builder, watch some of the videos, go download it. It's free, no charges, no. All it's going to do is save you writing code. So go take a look at it and go watch some of those videos. And if you're not convinced, send me an email that you're not convinced, and we'll talk about how Class Builder can be tweaked. So going forward, our next videos is we're going to start taking this game concept and start kind of prototyping to get a grasp on what kind of database tables we're going to need. I think I started some of that over here, and I was saying, okay, well, let's start with units. Well, a unit has a name and an ID, and it's got a location. Well, goodness, that's going to be its own object, and then it's got a token type, which is going to be the standard traditional, X for infantry, an oval for artillery or for tanks and cavalry. And, artillery's got its standard artillery symbol. Usually it's just a dot inside a square. Or I've actually designed cutesy little miniature men shooting rifles and tanks and images of these sorts of things. So you have a standard or traditional. Facing will be another one. Are they facing right or left? Okay, so, and this is probably going to be an object itself. So you can see where I'm going with this. This is doing nothing but adding lots of objects. Maybe we're going to introduce nations. Okay, so if you look at World War II, there were many nations involved. if you have units from Italy or Nazi Germany or France or um, the Polish army, you have North African troops, you have American, Japanese, Soviet Union. I mean, it encompasses the world. So you have a bazillion sets of nationalities, everybody with their own colors. And then and then you would have players that then these have to go into alliances to where you're down to just two players and this guy's in charge of all of these nations. Or do we want to blow off nations and say, okay, we can just handle colors ourselves and we have access and allies as the players and let it go by that. These are decisions that all have to be made. Uh, are we going to mess does this unit have a ranged attack? What is his range of attack? Is it 1 square? Is it 3 squares? Okay, artillery should be able to shoot 2 or 3 squares. What's its movement? Its movement is based on what it is. Can it carry other units? If so, how many? So you can load infantry into jeeps and you can load them into trucks and you can transport them faster on a truck than they can walk and all of that sort of stuff. So we're going to be looking at lots and lots and lots of objects and lots of database tables. We're going to need to build an application that creates the game, puts the starting units on the board and configures them. We're going to need a cities table. This city, Bastogne, is worth 50 points if you can conquer it, and it might be able to produce infantry for you. Maybe they have factories there and they can produce tanks. Is it a port city? Maybe they're building submarines if we're going to go into naval. Are we going to include naval units in our game? These are all sorts of things that have to be thought of. Airplanes. Okay. Are we going to have engineers that build runways to where planes can land just about anywhere in our game? Are we going to be able to blow bridges up? Are we going to be able to repair bridges, that sort of thing? Think of the Remagen Bridge. That was the last entrance across the river into Germany that the Americans actually captured on the Great Retreat of Germany out of Europe. And so these are all things we have to think about in time. Could we start? You eat an elephant one bite at a time, and you write a program one bite at a time. The thing is, how do you approach it, and how do you build such that if you're coming along and discover you need a new something, you can add it to your design without breaking everything. And honest to God, the way you do that is through modules. Modules are responsible for certain pieces. You don't have other pieces controlling that module, okay? If it's this table, you go to this code, and this is the guy that handles it. If you add something new, just add a new module. It's as easy as that. You want to try to make your design to where each piece of the design is responsible for itself, okay? And again, I'm back on a soapbox of this. So the goal here was to say and to teach that a database module looks the same regardless of what the table looks like. That's just fields. Fields are no big deal. We can track fields. These are the functions that we need, and that's very formulaic code. If it's formulaic, we can build a tool that does it for us. And once you do that, then you don't really have to worry about that code. It's always going to look the same, and it's always going to work the same. So that really concludes this particular piece. And I want you all to go hit those class builder videos and download class builder and go play with it. Thanks for your time.